Call to order the meeting of the Brentwood Board of Aldermen for February 1st. If you'd all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Have a roll call, please.
Alderman Plufka.
Here.
Alderman Slusser.
Here.
Alderman Lockmiller.
Here.
Alderman Kramer.
Present.
Alderman Toohey.
Here.
Alderman Leahy.
Here.
Alderwoman Manister. Alderwoman Saunders.
Here.
Okay, item number 3 on the agenda, the approval of the agenda for this evening. Are there any amendments or changes to tonight's agenda? Alderwoman Saunders.
Yes, I'll make a motion that we add unfinished business to the agenda at item 14A.
14A.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. I
Yeah,
always thought it
unfinished
was
business
below.
is already on the agenda at 9.
I apologize, I looked for it above new business and didn't see it. Thank you.
Yep. Any amendments, changes to this evening's agenda? All right.
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve tonight's agenda as submitted. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Item number 4 on the agenda, consideration and approval of the minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting of January 19th. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none,
Motion to approve the minutes from the January 19th minutes
Second.
as submitted.
it's been moved and seconded that the board approve the minutes of the January 19th meeting as submitted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, they're approved. Item number 5 on the agenda. This is one of my favorite parts of being mayor. So this season, in the fall, I had an opportunity to go to, I think, every single home game of the Brentwood High School football team. And it was a great season, a lot of fun, and I'd really love to have had the whole team in here to recognize, because they had, for those of you who don't keep up with Brentwood High School football, they had a 10-1 season this year, and they got knocked out of the district playoffs by a very tough Lutheran North team. But anyway, what I wanted to do was bring in the seniors of the football team and recognize them on such a great season and for all the great times they gave us fans. So without further ado, if I could get Jacob Clay, Corey Carroll, Demetrius Graves, Sam Hilton, and Brian Hutton to come forward, please.
What did he want to talk to me?
Thank you. Great season. Good job. For those of you who don't know how great Jacob is, he rushed 158 times this year for a total of 1,971 yards. That's an average of 12.5 yards per carry. So, well done, Jacob. Excellent. We have no public hearing. Item number 7 on the agenda, bids, and I don't think we have any bids to accept tonight. Item number 8 on the agenda, hearing of any matter of public interest upon the request of any person present. Anyone wishing to address the board, come forward, state your name at the mic, and you'll be given 3 minutes.
Louise Charbonneau, 8833 Madge. I don't need my 3 minutes tonight, Mr. Mayor. I just
Okay.
want to thank you and the aldermen who were able to attend the budget workshop last week. I think the budget vote is probably the most important vote. Oh, and I also understand the absence of a couple of members because of the shortness of notice with regard to that meeting. I think the budget vote is probably the most important legislation that you all have to look at in any given year. It's where you truly have to exercise your fiscal restraint, your fiduciary responsibility to the public. And once again, thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Good evening. My name is Bonnie Rasmussen. I live at Pendleton and Collier on the corner. And as most of you know, there's a new house going up on Collier. And the builder, by permission, is using my vacant lot, probably the only vacant lot in Brentwood, to access that property because it's very tight. And it's B residential, so there's only 4 feet from the lot line to the north side of his house. And I understand that he has purchased the property on the south side of his house. Now, there's a small property in there. However, when I got up and out Friday morning, I looked, and there's this mountain of dirt on my lot, and all the brush from the back of that lot. And before any of you come around and get after me, it's not my dirt. But I would appreciate if you would light a fire under the young builder and get it off my property as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else care to address the board? Okay, seeing none. Aldermanic response? Any of the aldermen care to respond to any of the comments? I'll go ahead and take that last one. We will actually, I'll ask our city administrator to check with the person doing the development and see what exactly is going on with that. So we will follow up.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Item number 9, unfinished business. Why do I have the feeling Alderwoman Saunders has something she wants to talk about here? What's on your mind?
You're clairvoyant. I was disappointed to see that the budget was not on the agenda. At the workshop at the end of the meeting, I had made after we talked, and I said, I think we have a consensus that we all agree we wanted to bring the budget back because we did not want to delay the city anymore as far as, getting to put out contracts for streets and so forth. And I know, Mayor Thornton, you said, well, we'll just bring it back under the same bill. And I said, I think we have to do it under a new bill number because we didn't bring it back immediately that next meeting for reconsideration. In speaking before the meeting with Alderman Susser, he said that he got the impression from you, I don't want to say quote or whatever, but that you were expecting something in writing from us to even put it back on the agenda. So I apologize because I thought that it was going to be on this agenda. So can I ask that we put the budget back onto the agenda at the next meeting under a new number, under a new bill number? And it was my understanding that then there was a few amendments that needed to be made, and you asked for them to be put in writing. And I brought mine this evening in writing with supporting documents. I know Alderman Kramer was going to do one, but he had a rough week this week, and I think Alderman Lockmuller was going to put something in writing. So I hope that we can get that done, because it's a shame that we can't get the budget passed tonight. I was hoping that was the direction we were headed. Are we in consensus that the budget will be brought back next meeting? Do we need to do something? I need to make a motion, or?
No, I mean, no, because the budget is not unfinished business. It was brought up, it was voted down, so it's finished business. I mean, if you would like it placed on the agenda for next week, all you have to do is let me or Rolla know, and we'll put it on the agenda.
Okay, I said that at the workshop, but is this sufficient, or does it have to be in writing? I would like the budget back on the agenda.
Well, I mean, this really isn't the time to discuss it, but since we've gone this far, I mean, at our workshop, a number of people asked if we could bring the budget back up? And I said yes, but I said it would be very helpful if people would submit amendments in writing, because there were clearly some folks that wanted to amend the budget. And so I said it would be very helpful to have those amendments in writing so that we would know ahead of time what we're trying to do. I was told by 3 people or 4 people that they were going to get me amendments, and then nothing ever showed up. So unfortunately, when nothing showed up, I didn't see the point of putting the same bill that was on the agenda 3 meetings ago onto the agenda for tonight's meeting, so I didn't.
Reply?
Sure, go ahead.
I had a very busy week, as I told Alderman Slusser, asked me about whether I would put mine in writing, and I drafted my motion. I mean, I knew I pretty much summed it up at the workshop, but I draft my motion today, and a lot of times, just like with the appointments and that, and some of your memos, we get them the day of the meeting, and so I felt that this was adequate time. It's a pretty straightforward amendment, and so I didn't realize that the budget wouldn't even get put on the agenda if there were,
Believe me, nobody would like to see the budget on the agenda more than I would, so I'd be more than happy to do it at the first opportunity.
okay, well, next meeting, please put the budget. I think at the workshop, everyone, a lot of questions were answered, people understood the compensation a little bit better, and now we have the actual numbers, so if we could put that forward. And then the only other question, I don't know whether it's unfinished business, but the raises in that were already given out. And according to the ordinance, the compensation bill, it states in there that it has to be approved and adopted in the budget within the ordinance. So I
Well,
don't understand.
That's certainly
what-
not unfinished business, but
Well, it's business, it's something that happened, and then to me, it's unfinished because I
and we
don't,
discussed it at the workshop. I mean, you went on about it for a while at the workshop, so not right now is probably the best time.
okay. When do I find out, though, about the legality of that?
Well, I suppose you could make an inquiry to the city attorney if you're really concerned about the legality, but it was done with his approval, so.
Okay.
Item number 10, bills to be given a first reading. There are none this evening. Item number 11, bills to be given a second reading. We have one bill that's been postponed until the 15th of February, so we will continue to postpone 6029 until, 16 February, sorry.
Because of the President's Day.
Oh, right, you're right. So we will take that bill up on the 16th of February. Item number 12 on the agenda, bill number 6042, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a resolution and repair agreement with Total Mechanical Services, Inc. First reading, please, Mr. City Attorney, by title only.
Bill number 6042, first reading, an ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a resolution and repair agreement with Total Mechanical Services, Inc.
Okay, thank you. I think Director Greenfelder has some information for the board on this one. I just want to preface this by saying this is in fact the agreement that was discussed in a closed session previously. So for any of you who are wondering what we're talking about, that is what we're talking about.
Good evening. As the mayor said, we're just looking to formalize the agreement that was brought to you guys last meeting. Since then, there was one change to the agreement. I believe that was all. You guys received that today on page one. There's we changed from January to February because it took us a little bit longer to get this done. And then on page 2, on number 12, if you have the red line version, you'll see kind of the text there. And the purpose of that was they just wanted some clarification reflecting that if we asked our professionals, especially the architect and the engineer, to undertake some additional work unrelated to this agreement, that we do so in writing, that they would be compensated for it. So that's what that change is. So that's what we're looking to do.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. City Attorney, you've looked over this language and you approve of it?
I have, sir, and I do.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Director Greenfelder? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. City Attorney, second reading, please.
Bill number 6042, second reading and consideration for adoption. An ordinance authorizing the mayor and/or city administrator to enter into and execute a resolution and repair agreement with Total Mechanical Services, Inc.
Thank you. Chair would take a motion.
Move to perfect Bill 6042 into ordinance form.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the board perfect Bill number 6042 into ordinance form. Is there any discussion on the bill? Alderman Leahy.
One question, Your Honor. I must be missing it, but nowhere in the resolution and repair agreement does it actually say when this fixing will actually take place. Now, we're under the impression that it's going to be done during the April 2016 shutdown, but that date is not identified anywhere in here as to when it gets done, unless I've missed it.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
Could we get a date commitment, or can we put that in here? I mean,
I don't know that I believe it's necessary.
There's also a change order document, if I'm not mistaken, and it is to be done during the April shutdown. That was the point of the discussion at great length, so that's when it's happening. And I believe that timing is documented in the related document.
Page 2, item number 6. It says, "Total shall at its expense take all actions necessary to complete all repairs and testing of the subsoil heating system, including replacement and repainting of the ice within 35 calendar days after the ice surface is turned over to Total for repairs." So we, the city, would be turning it over to them for repair during our closure.
okay, so we are, the April 2016 timeframe.
And the change order executed by the construction manager also specifies. the
Starting
date.
around April 18th.
Thank you very much. Your Honor, I'll make a motion that we perfect ordinance 42 into ordinance form. Oh, we already had, I'm sorry, forgive me.
We're
sir.
discussing it. Yeah.
Forgive me, sir.
Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll have a roll call, please.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Plufko?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Alderman Slusser?
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Bill number 6042 is hereby passed by the Board of Aldermen and upon signature by the mayor becomes ordinance number 4695.
Okay, thank you. Next item is 12B, bill number 6043. Mr. City Attorney, first reading, please.
Bill number 6043, first reading, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 4694 and amending Schedule 4 of the Brentwood City Code regarding residential parking restrictions.
Okay, synopsis, please.
Yes, Your Honor, Bill 6043, I believe this is a housekeeping measure, the resident parking restrictions at the 8700 block of Brentwood Place. The Board of Aldermen of the City of Brentwood, Missouri deems it to be in the public interest, safety, and general welfare of its residents to establish certain zones in which parking by anyone except residents and their visitors with valid permits is prohibited. A request that the city extend parking restrictions on Brentwood Place, the north side of the block from 8783 through 8777, was presented to the Public Safety Committee, and on January 19, 2016, the Board of Aldermen adopted ordinance number 4694. That also amended the parking schedule for residential parking restrictions Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. until 6 p.m., which excluded Sunday. The residents are now asking the Board of Aldermen to consider parking restrictions on Brentwood Place Monday through Sunday and at all times, all contained within the language of Bill number 6043.
All right. Chief Fitzgerald, do you have anything you want to say on this one? The synopsis said it all? Alderman Slusser.
I just have a general question about parking permits, I guess. How many per household do you get? Does anyone, I don't know who to ask this of, but are they, are we enforcing them? If someone has a party in the middle of the day and they only have 2 permits at their house, is it likely that the people at the party are going to get tickets because they don't have permits? I mean, I'm not trying to vote no against this, I just want to understand.
Shuttle bus.
I know this will be hard to believe, but I believe it's different for different streets.
Okay.
But normally, it's 5 per household.
Okay, so you just,
I
if you
think
had,
that's what we did on Moritz. I don't think we've issued those on Brentwood Place, because there's really not room for any more than a few people.
so you have people over to your house, you just need to make sure they throw that? Okay. Just one.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, Mr. City Attorney, second reading, please.
Bill number 6043, second reading and consideration for adoption, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 4694 and amending Schedule 4 of the Brentwood City Code regarding residential parking restrictions.
Thank you.
Move to prefect Bill 6043 into ordinance form.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of Aldermen perfect Bill number 6043 into ordinance form. Is there any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call, please.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
No.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Alderman Slusser?
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Bill number 6043 is hereby passed by the Board of Aldermen and upon signature by the mayor becomes ordinance number 4696.
In Octavia, just for the record, when I became aware of this housekeeping issue, I actually did not sign the previous bill. So I don't think it ever became an ordinance, so if you'd like to use that ordinance number, however you want to do it, just so you're aware. I'm probably making your life more complicated. I'll go ahead and sign it if you want.
If you did not return it, it becomes. an
Yeah, well, if I
ordinance.
don't raise objections today, right, then it becomes an ordinance without my signature. Yeah, so we've repealed it in any event. All right, very good. I just wanted her to know. All right, item number 13 on the agenda is resolution number 1048. Tom, do you have that?
Sure. Yes, Your Honor. This is the synopsis for the resolution regarding the Brentwood Century Foundation. It's a resolution designating Brentwood Century Foundation as the official organization to coordinate Brentwood Centennial's celebration. The city of Brentwood will be celebrating its centennial in 2019, and the Board of Aldermen believes that it would be beneficial and appropriate to have an organization lead the effort to celebrate the centennial. And the Brentwood Century Foundation is a non-for-profit group incorporated and organized by a group of Brentwood residents dedicated to leading this effort. With the adoption of this resolution, the Board of Aldermen hereby recognizes the Brentwood Century Foundation and officially designates this foundation as the official organization to coordinate the celebration of Brentwood Centennial in 2019. Resolution 1048.
Thank you. So we saw the presentation at our last meeting, and the Century Foundation is up and going, and what this resolution would do is just formally have the city adopt them as the official organization for putting on the celebration. So is there any discussion on the resolution?
Motion to perfect the resolution, pass the resolution. 1048.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the board resolve number 1048. Let's see, let's go ahead and have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Kramer?
Yes.
Alderman Leahy?
Yes.
Alderman Lockmiller?
Yes.
Alderman Plufka?
Yes.
Alderwoman Saunders?
Yes.
Alderman Slusser?
Yes.
Alderman Tui.
Yes.
Okay, the resolution passes, so congratulations to the Brentwood Century Foundation. You are the official organization of the Brentwood Centennial Celebration. And I suggest you hit Alderman Plufka up for a donation, as I have not yet received my goodly sum of money from him from previous. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to make one.
I am and I will.
Item number 14 on the agenda, accounts against the city. Alderman Slusser.
I have reviewed the warrant list with the city administrator and recommend its approval in the amount of $280,773.14.
Is there a
Second?
second? It's been moved and seconded that the board approve the warrant list as submitted. Is there any discussion? Alderman Leahy.
If I may inquire as to the Daniel and Henry Company on page 2 for the additional property coverage on the ice rink. We dropped the coverage while we were under construction, and this puts it back in place?
No, we did not drop the coverage because
Okay.
of the improvement, the value of the ice rink has
So in case
increased.
something happens to the building, because we think it's worth more now.
Exactly.
Thank you.
It better be.
Just a little. It just didn't register with me what we were spending, so I wanted to ask.
Is there any further discussion on the warrant list? Seeing none, let's see.
Motion to pass.
Yeah, I know, but do we need a roll call on this? Since it's money? No, go ahead. All in favor of approving the warrant list as submitted, raise your hand. All opposed? Warrant list is unanimously approved. Let's see, reports of committees under item 15. Under my report, I just want to share one thing. I'll share two things. One is, in response to Alderman Saunders, I definitely would have liked to have seen the budget on tonight's agenda. I was very prepared. In fact, we have copies of the bill with a different bill number, and we're ready to go. But I had rather hoped that people were going to submit, proposed changes so that we could discuss them, constructively. And when that didn't happen, and I know everybody's busy, so, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I very much would have liked to have had it on tonight's agenda, so.
It was just a miscommunication.
Yeah. Anyway, so more than happy to put it on the next agenda, but, and again, it's not a requirement, but I didn't feel that there was anybody who was opposed to putting things in writing so that we could consider them more easily, so. Yeah, so, again, I wasn't trying to be unreasonable or anything like that. I was just trying to make it easier for everybody to get the job done. So, very happy to do it next time around. Sorry if we didn't get to it this time. Like I said, nobody would be happier than I if that had happened. We had, for those of you who haven't had a chance to drive down Litzinger Road after, say, 5:30, the lights went on Thursday last week, and or most of them did. My kids asked me, "Daddy, why is that light?" I said, "I'm sure it's just a touch-up thing." But anyway, the response we've gotten from folks has been extremely favorable, and what I'd like to do is just read to you an email that we received today from one of the residents that lives around Litzinger. It says, "Dear Bola Akande, I'm not sure if you're the person who this goes to or not, so Litzinger is awesome!" Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. "I have lived in this area 13 years. We have 2 kids and we love going to Tillis Park. We would avoid Litzinger like the plague. We would take every side street we could not to have to walk across that horribly unlevel sidewalk. At night, we were almost hit by a few cars. But now," in all caps, "we love walking down the street and the lights are awesome. They make the streets so bright and they look amazing down the street. I cannot thank you all enough for making that stretch of Litzinger one of the top streets in St. Louis. You've done a great job designing and building. Tell the street workers, the residents of both Brentwood and Rock Hill are very excited and truly appreciative of their hard work. Please pass this along to whoever needs to read this. Sincerely, Jeff Leonard." That's been the response almost across the board, and I got to tell you, I can't take a lot of credit for it. We were here for the construction phase of it. This actually is the culmination of 3 years of hard work, and the application was submitted almost 4 years ago. So a lot of people had a hand in getting this thing done, but it really is great. And what I'd like to do is just point out to everybody that, I think that's, my hope is this will serve as an example of what can be done if we focus our attention on capital improvement projects like that. Whether they're done with federal money or city money or whatever, preferably with federal money. but regardless of how they're done, it's just an example of how nice things can be and how much we can get done. I would like to see the same thing happen on high school. I would like to see our trails lit that way, at least the main ones that go through the back and forth across town. I would like to see those lighted pathways all across our town so that people can easily get from one side to the other. At only 2.2 square miles of area, we could be a very walkable and a very pedestrian-friendly community if we choose to. And I think, I think that would be a great thing for us. I want to thank everybody for their support. Kudos to our street department and our public works department. And our city administrator for getting these things done. It really turned out great, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of it. Public Safety Committee.
Just a reminder, the Public Safety's meeting will be held on February 18th this month, and I would just echo what the mayor had said with regard to the budget amendments. As an alderman who voted in support of the original budget and somebody who also attended the workshop, I would appreciate seeing any amendments and changes in writing and giving us an opportunity, especially since 2 of the aldermen were not able to attend that workshop. I would really like to see those in writing so we'd have a chance to talk about them constructively prior. Thank you.
Public Works Committee.
No report.
No report. Thank you.
Mayor Thornton, we have an announcement. I'd like Director Grunfelder to come and announce it if there's time for it.
Okay, yeah, sure. Is this under planning and development, or?
No, under Public Works.
Oh, under Public Works. Okay, very good.
Thank you very much. I just want to announce, thanks to BOLA, that I'm happy to announce that we received the municipal park grant for $370,000 this year for a pavilion and bathroom and recreation.
Nice surprise.
That's your second one, isn't it, for that area?
Yeah, it's the second one in the last 2 years, 3 in the last 4, and we'll probably not have the points for next year, but it's nice for this year, and we'll be working hard on getting that moving. So.
And Eric, did I understand you to say that's for the pavilion at Oak Tree Park?
Pavilion with a restroom at Oak Tree Park, yes.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done.
Good.
Director of Planning and Development, City Administrator Conde, do we have any report on that?
I just wanted to update the board. We all had an expectation that the comprehensive plan update would have started by now. However, we do have a vacancy in the position of Assistant City Administrator, Director of Planning, and that position oversees and works closely with the consultants who carry this out. So we advise strongly against paying another consultant to help us manage the project. So we are moving as expeditiously as we can to fill the position, and once the position is filled, we'll pick it right back up.
Thank you. Ways and Means Committee, Alderman Slusser.
Well, not related to Ways and Means. I appreciate the pavilion because I was at the Oak Tree Park yesterday and watched a man run his kid over to the tree line and have him go to the restroom. So I'm sure it was an emergency. The creek was right there, so I guess the wood's as good as anything. So I'm sure people will appreciate having a bathroom over there. The Ways and Means Committees did not meet in February. We are going to meet on March 3rd, though. It's our first meeting in 2 months. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I think we're starting to get a handle on the flooding issue, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Bad joke. Mr. City Attorney,
No reports, sir.
Madam City Administrator, anything?
No report, sir.
Our Excise Commissioner is absent, and she also handles the library. Municipal League. I do have something to report on this. I don't think any of the aldermen were able to attend, but and I don't know if anybody besides Bola and I were there, but Missouri Municipal League did host their meeting here in Brentwood at the newly renovated rec center on Thursday last week. It was a huge meeting, actually. We had, actually, I was expecting the fire chief to show up and start chucking us. We had a lot of people in that room over in room A. So, but anyway, it was very well received. People were extremely complimentary of our new facility. Couple of the things that came up, there were some new tax proposals that I'm still getting my arms around. That once I have had a chance to digest them and form an opinion, I'll be very happy to inform the board about them more. The other thing that has come up, that continues to come up, was discussed, is the county police standards lawsuit. What has happened is the city of Olivet, and I believe I can't remember what the other one, Kevin, do you know?
Olivet and Rock Hill filed one lawsuit.
Right.
And we represent about a dozen other cities in a parallel case.
In any event, what's happened is there are two groups that have filed lawsuits, and I believe this week or there will be a motion for consolidation of the case.
Friday morning.
Friday morning. So there will be a motion for consolidation of the case, at which point I cannot see any reason why the cases wouldn't be consolidated. And so at that point, they'll become one case, and I think it would be, as I've told you, I think it would behoove us to join that lawsuit, but I don't see any point in trying to pick one or the other when they're going to be consolidated, hopefully by the next time we get together. So my plan is to wait until these lawsuits are consolidated and then make a recommendation to the board, complete with the budget and so forth, on joining those lawsuits and so forth. In the discussions that took place, there was a lot of discussion of cost, and what I can tell you is my takeaway from it, from all the people that I talked to, was that this is very likely to be a case that's decided on summary judgment, which is a very early in the litigation process. And so, as a result, will be a very inexpensive case to litigate because you do your research, you make your motion for summary judgment, you submit it to the judge, and if it's resolved at summary judgment stage, then you don't have a lot of expensive discovery and all that other stuff. So I think that's extremely likely, and I think that makes it all the more reason for us to step in and put a little money behind it and show our solidarity with our fellow municipalities. So, but I will have, like I said, I will submit a plan to the board. I haven't forgotten, and I do plan to submit a plan to the board on joining that litigation at the appropriate time. Historical Society, Chief? All right, do we have any announcements? Alderman Leahy.
I have two, Your Honor, if I may. For the month of February, the Ward 3 meeting will be held on Tuesday night, the 23rd of February. And all are invited up here at 7 o'clock. The other announcement I have, Your Honor, is I received a phone call from State Senator Scott Sifton on the issue that we submitted to him on the veto process with the state statutes. He has submitted the request on to the Attorney General's office. The Attorney General office responded back to the senator and asked if he was willing to support or initiate language that would potentially correct the statute if the AG office found anything in the statute that needed to be corrected. The senator declined committing to such, so the AG's office has officially declined reviewing the request. So that issue is now dead because the AG office won't go any further.
Okay,
Not unexpected.
thank you. Any other announcements? No? Seeing none. New business? Seeing none. Here. Did I miss something? No, we're okay. Item number 18 on the agenda, hearing of matter of public interest upon the request of any person present. If you want to address the Board of Aldermen, please step forward. You'll be given 3 minutes to do so.
Is it enough to just say it's me again?
That's fine.
I had no intention, but with what Andy just shared with us, because he had shared it with me earlier, and I was an early supporter of Scott Sifton, had his sign in my yard, intended to volunteer for him again this November. This was an issue, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Sifton's district, if you ever looked, when they don't call it gerrymandering anymore, do they? But
Redistricting.
thank you.
You're welcome.
His district includes us and then runs all along the Mississippi River down to South St. Louis. So it might behoove, if this was an issue that was important to you, and this just sounds like, you know where I come from. I come from patriotism. I come from service to the city, service to your fellow citizens. It might behoove us all, and assign it so-and-so resident of Brentwood, basically, dear Mr. Sifton, what have you done for Brentwood lately? It's just a suggestion, but that's what I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen Smith, Brentwood. I had like 3 comments on my first one was on the warrant list, the Cook and Riley LLC. There's an invoice for service for TIF 8 Meridian. I was wondering if I could get more information on what that was about. And then my second comment was in regards to I guess the additional cost for the police training. And so I am concerned about the overstepping of municipal, I guess, governing rights, with the county requesting that municipalities all have their police take this additional training. But I also would be interested in understanding what the increased cost would be to us as a city and what we are being asked to do, what that additional training is. Because as a resident of a region that's larger than St. Louis, I value having a consistent police force across the municipalities. And so if this training would make all of our police forces stronger, I really do welcome that. I would like to know that, and I'd like for our police also to be in the best position possible to be able to handle any of these incidences that are seemingly to increase, that are very volatile, and I'd like us to be, have, the best training that we can have. So I would be interested in more information about that. My last area is in the area of compensation. I did attend the compensation workshop and appreciated being able to listen to the discussion. It was very educating for me. I do have a question about the procedural when we didn't adopt the 2016 budget. So I understand that we're operating under the 2015 budget, and I see that in the warrant list that a lot of the things are being put forward because we are able to operate under the 2015 budget. But my question has to do with the compensation, and again, I was trying to follow this at the end of the last meeting. So because we didn't approve the 2016 budget, we're operating under the 2015 budget. In regards to compensation, when we approved the 2015 budget, did we improve the percentage increase, and therefore that same percentage can be applied in 2016? Is that what we're doing? Or do we, when we approve the budget, do we approve the amount that would have taken the compensation up to $6 million? And then I question if we can still be, if we should have approved our compensation yet until we get that 2016 budget approved. And then lastly, the ordinance adopting our new compensation plan, I believe that's the way you refer to that. I did think that was supposed to be approved through the adoption of the budget, and we didn't approve the 2016 budget. So have we approved our new compensation plan? Because the 2015 budget did not have a new compensation plan in it. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just trying to follow what we're doing. So if I could get more clarification on that, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else care to come forward and address the board? Okay, seeing none. Would any alderman care to respond? Alderman Saunders.
This is quite a response, more of a comment, but I agree with the resident that wrote in about Litzinger Road. It looks great. Everybody did a wonderful job on that. And I really appreciate, all of the work, getting the grant, the application. That's a very involved process. And I know Bola and Justin worked on that. And so, but the other thing that I did want to say about it was, resident input is very important, because when we updated the plan in 2006, and I know it wasn't the best plan because I was on the committee and was wanting more strategies and tasks, but in that plan, the thing that we took away was everybody unanimously wanted a sense of place and character and charm brought back to Brentwood. And that really came through loud and clear on that comprehensive plan. And that's where then the launching, you can see it's fulfilled in Litzinger by having the old-fashioned lamppost and so forth. So it is possible, but with this update, and I know it's delayed until we have a new assistant city administrator or development and planning, but it's very important that the residents participate in those when they have the public sessions for interaction and for comment and so forth. It's important that you participate because this is your city, and that's how we get, the look of like Litzinger. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Tui.
I'm going to comment on Karen Smith's comments regarding the police training, and I don't see it being such a bad thing that the county wants all the municipalities to improve their training. I know we want to govern ourselves, but we're not an island unto ourselves, and poorly trained officers in another municipality does affect all of us, and I don't think we should just simply assume joining the county lawsuits in the best interest of our residents. I haven't heard anyone positioning this lawsuit saying how it will protect residents better. I see it more of a control issue and not really a public safety issue, so I will be voting against that.
Thank you. Alderman Slesser.
Also a response, Ms. Smith. On the warrant list, you'll notice a lot of the expenditures are for 2015 expenditures. So they were accrued at the end of the year as an accounts payable, and now they're being paid in 2016 because it takes time for things to work their way through the payable system. I'm not saying all the bills are that way, but you'll see the very first item on there is professional services for the period ended December 15, 2015. The next one is for the rec center, which was done during 2015. So a lot of these expenditures that are on here that are coded to the 15 budget were all for expenditures or services that we received in the prior fiscal year. So that's why you're seeing the 15 budget on there.
Thank you. Alderman Saunders?
Also in relation to Karen, the Cook and Riley, we approved a contract via ordinance to go ahead and use Cook and Riley to calculate the TIF money for the Meridian. So that portion of Gina's job was put to an
To
outside
review,
party.
not to calculate, to
Oh,
review our
review it?
calculation.
Okay. And it's part of one of the settlement agreements, isn't it, or one of the agreements that we use an outside?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so that's the answer for that.
Thank you. Any further response? Seeing none. Item number 19 on the agenda, my understanding is we're not,
Yes, there is no executive session
Okay.
tonight.
yeah, so I think that was a mistake, and we don't have a need to go into a closed session, so.
Okay.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion then that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.